So, you've heard about implementation science and are interested in hearing more. What is it? Why does it matter? Well, at some point, most of us have experienced the frustration of providing training and resources to staff across our state, community, or organization, only to repeatedly find there is no positive impact on outcomes. Implementation falters, or programs just do not sustain. What we all know is, creating meaningful change is complex and challenging. Over the past several decades, considerable research, policy, and funding have focused on the use of evidence-based programs and practices. Obviously, you wouldn't want to waste your time and effort on programs that have no evidence behind them. At the same time, those programs are only effective when fully implemented. The level of effort applied to identifying and producing EBPs has yet to be placed on how EBPs are implemented. The gap between identification of evidence-based programs and implementation of those same programs is critical. Why? Students cannot benefit from interventions they do not receive. This is where implementation science comes in. Applied implementation science can support your organization in successfully navigating the pathway from research to practice. Active implementation frameworks can support you in building implementation capacity at multiple levels in your system. The frameworks can support you in implementing and sustaining evidence-based practices to improve outcomes and establish meaningful, lasting change. Active implementation frameworks move us from long lists to big ideas with tools, processes, and data. What are the active implementation frameworks? Just as we want to use best evidence to choose an intervention, we want to use best evidence in implementation. These 5 frameworks are based on the best evidence from evaluation and research about how to change practice, organizations, and systems. Let's take a quick look. Usable interventions. If you can't clearly define a program or practice, how can you implement it? Attending to the key criteria of a usable intervention helps ensure consistency and fidelity of implementation. Implementation teams. It takes a team to raise a village. Using implementation teams increases accountability and sustainability for the new work. Likewise, linking those teams together through a clear communication process makes it easier to scale up a program across your entire system. Implementation drivers. There are specific activities that can really drive the success of implementing your program or practice. For example, the way your organization plans training and coaching of new skills to staff, and the importance of routinely assessing fidelity of implementation of the program. Still, well-trained staff can't implement a program in an environment that's not supportive. So, implementation drivers also factor in how your organization and leadership can support the new ways of work. Implementation stages. Change at the state, community, and organizational level cannot happen all at once. Implementation is not a single event, but rather a process. Implementation stages guide your team through a purposeful approach to managing system change, building capacity, and sustaining the new program or practice. Improvement cycles. The routine, intentional review of useful data is key to supporting successful implementation of your program or practice. Purposeful use of plan, do, study, act cycles and of practice policy feedback loops help to ensure fidelity of implementation. Regular, effective communication between practitioners and policymakers facilitates changes and improvement in support of the new work. Now that you've had an introduction to the active implementation frameworks, explore their formal definitions here. Then click play to continue. On the following slides, we provide you a set of resources to get started and get better with your implementation. So what's next? We invite you to explore these Getting Started resources. Thanks for listening, and good luck on your implementation science journey.